Tuesday for allegedly taking a vehicle and driving it without a license. She is now facing additional offenses ranging from theft, burglary, forgery, and assaulting a peace officer. Court records show Fowler has been convicted of multiple drug offenses in Layton, Farmington, and Salt Lake City. She will likely be arraigned in First District Court in Logan on new charges from her recent arrests. Firefighters from 4 different fire stations have been practicing swiftwater technical rescues on the Logan River. They are using the river north of Wasatch Properties at 595 South, 80 East in Logan. Some of the firefighters went into the water to let others use a throw rope to bring them to shore safely. During another exercise, they used a tension diagonal or a rope on both sides of the shore, set at different points to form a diagonal. When those trying to get out of the water caught the rope, it brought them to the shore. Logan City firefighter engineer AEMT Brandon Wallace had special training to teach the water rescue skills to his fellow team members. KBNU time is 5:06. KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low around 50, and then partly cloudy in the morning on Tuesday, becoming mostly cloudy, good chance of rain showers and a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Some of those storms could produce strong gusty winds, high temperature in the mid-80s. We've been to 79, and it's 79 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by U&I Furniture. If warm summer nights make it hard for you to sleep, check out the copper-infused gel memory foam mattress at U&I. You'll sleep cooler and more comfortable. Always a better buy at U&I, downtown Logan, 28 West, 1st North.
My hearing started to go right around the same time my wife started naming off all the upgrades she wanted done on the house. I figured it was selective hearing. To be honest, I was actually pretty upset when it was suggested that I might need hearing aids, but ultimately I knew it was time for a change.
At Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology, we can help you regain the confidence that you're hearing life the way it was meant to be heard.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Visit CacheHearing.com for details.
KBNU News Time is 5:07. Sandy's mayor, Monica Zoltansky, has proposed a 32% property tax increase for residents and businesses. Cindy Sharkey, Sandy's city at-large council member, said the money from taxpayers would be used for a variety of things, including pay raises for city employees and a new fire station. Sharkey said for the average homeowner, the increase would raise property taxes $9 per month. She stressed that means half of residents will be higher than that and half will be lower. Sharkey also said for businesses, that increase will be even higher. She told KUTV that the mayor made the proposal a month ago, but the council is now getting feedback from residents that includes either dialing back the property tax increase or reconsidering it altogether. Sharkey said the proposal is just that right now, and the decision is in the council's hands. Over the next 3 weeks, Sharkey said they will be considering options to reduce, amend, change, or eliminate the proposed property tax increase. KBNU News Time is 5:08, and for more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
The station for news and talk. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
When a tiny drop causes a ripple and becomes a wave, it travels through all corners of the planet, sustains all forms of life, and provides streams of wonder, rivers of adventure, and oceans of discovery. One drop connects us all. Reserve your visit now to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, a nonprofit organization.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
KVNU is for the people. Something from Hour One's headlines with smooth jazz that we wanted to get back to here in Hour Two, because I find these types of lists interesting. But it actually, there is a public policy, even political tie-in to this list of trivia. In that, well, let me set it up this way. You've probably all heard, post 9/11, 2001, there was a big debate over the Patriot Act and some of the things that America was doing, ramping up the TSA and the things we had to do, taking our shoes off, no liquids over 2 ounces, things like that. And as the years went by, and as public sentiment softened a bit or cooled a bit on all of this, you had people pointing out that your odds of dying in a terrorist attack are extremely low. So much so that just statistically speaking alone, you do 4 or 5 things a day. All of us, every single one of you listening right now, myself here talking, we've all done something previous to right now, just today, in which the odds of death are higher than the odds are of dying in a terrorist attack. Yet we nearly remade our country in response to a terrorist attack, and you can understand why. It was a heinous event. It led to a traumatized nation. There are, of course, the geopolitical ramifications and the political, domestic politics ramifications in our choice of response and how we go about things, and not intending to rekindle that whole argument. I fall on the side that in the years after 9/11, we did exactly what the terrorists wanted. We freaked out, and we turned ourselves in several ways into a country that was not a lot like America for a few years there, including, suspending, in the name of safety and security, some very important constitutional protections. We put them aside for a few years. We created this gigantic, still operating, very well-funded surveillance apparatus in response to this. And again, statistically speaking, all of us did 3 or 4 things earlier today that were more risky, statistically speaking, where the odds were higher of injury or death than dying in a terrorist attack. So these lists, this is a list of lifetime odds. This is compiled by Robert Britt, who is a statistician at the University of, Connecticut. He does this once a year, and I always get them sent to me because I subscribed, because I find it eye-opening, and it's important to get this perspective once in a while. And I'm not trying to scare anyone about your lifestyle or dietary choices or anything like that. This is just to provide perspective on some of the things you might see in the news that are shocking, frightening, that might even lead you to think, wow, we really need to do something about this, and even something drastic. So the first statistic, of course, I mentioned during Headlines with Smooth Jazz opening the show today, which is that we have also well-funded mechanism in this country for keeping people safe in the water when it comes to shark attacks. And there have been points in time over the years when a shark attack has happened, and it's led to massive public outcry of people just demanding, that the shark be hunted down and the beaches made safe again. And every year, you are twice as likely to die being hit on the head by a coconut than eaten by a shark, or even bitten by a shark. This is inarguable statistical odds. This is taking the number of shark attacks, bites, and deaths included, anytime there is a human-shark interaction that leads to injury of any kind or death, and contrasting that with the number of people that die each year from getting whacked on the head by a coconut that fell out of a tree while they were walking by. You are twice as likely to die by coconut than you are to be eaten by a shark. And yet, have you ever heard of a public outcry of some sort of massive response to make the jungle safe again, because of the risk of... No, it's because sharks are scary and coconuts are not. And that's the point. We have a tendency as human beings to respond to things very emotionally while telling ourselves we're being cool and logical. So when we hear about a shark attack, it seems logical to say, well, sharks are dangerous. We should definitely do something about the sharks. Coconuts, they're just round fruit. I think it's a fruit. Who would be so silly as to be afraid of that? Well, statistically speaking, again, you are twice as likely to die being whacked on the head by a coconut than you are bitten or eaten by a shark. But here are some of the actual statistics. And again, keeping in mind this, the whole point of this is to try to remind yourself, as I like to do when I get this list every year from Robert Britt at the University of Connecticut, it's important to remember what the risks are, because sometimes, especially if you are a political junkie, you can get caught up in some of the rhetoric and some of the messaging coming from political parties, especially that kind of warps your perspective. It's intended to warp your perspective, to get you to do what they want you to do. So here are some odds to just throw out there. Lifetime odds. These are the odds based on death statistics. The lifetime odds of dying by. Here's the list. You have a 1 in 6 chance of dying from heart disease. You have a 1 in 7 chance of dying from cancer. You have a 1 in 27 chance of dying from some sort of chronic lower respiratory disease or very bad bout with pneumonia at an advanced age. You or someone you love, rather, has a 1 in 88 chance of dying by suicide, a 1 in 96 chance of an opioid overdose, death. You have a 1 in 103. One person in every 103 people will die in a motor vehicle crash. A simple fall. A 1 in 114 chance of dying in a simple fall at any age. You have a 1 in 285 chance of dying in a gun assault of some kind. Those are actually high odds there. And a 1 in 556 people chance of dying in a pedestrian accident. This data comes from 2022, so it's not from this year. It's the last time the National Safety Council published the raw data. And Britt takes the data, runs it through his statistical modeling software, and he writes up this list. And it goes on there. So each one of these categories, he also breaks down in selected categories to kind of explain that you can then increase the odds of these things by actions you choose. Motorcyclists, this is, stuff to worry about, basically. Motorcyclists have a 1 in 858 chance of dying. A 100 in 1,858 chance. But surprisingly, as a pedestrian, you have a 1 in 802 chance of being killed by someone on a motorcycle. So motorcycles are often considered a more dangerous way to travel, and obviously the data backs that up. But if someone were to say to you walking around on the streets is actually more dangerous than driving a motorcycle around all day, that might seem counterintuitive, right? But statistically speaking, you're more likely to be killed as a pedestrian by a motorcyclist than a motorcyclist is likely to be killed driving around on a motorcycle. Drowning. You have a 1 in 100, and well, let me just put it this way. The odds of you dying by drowning are 4 times the odds of you being bitten by a shark. The odds of you dying from smoke or fire inhalation are 12 times the odds of you dying from a motor vehicle accident. I mean, these are not any statistics to celebrate, of course. And all of these things. And another one that was on the list was sunstroke. 1 in 8,900 people dies of sunstroke every year in the United States. That, to me, is tragic because that is an entirely preventable death. Entirely preventable. But to put it in perspective, again, it's extremely rare. So a massive, public response to this entirely preventable death would seem maybe an overreaction. Although they are entirely preventable, maybe some PSA campaigns. You don't need to invoke the government surveillance system to count how the hours people are standing in the sun. Again, that's the perspective all of this lends. Every time I read this, you have a 1 in 46,000 chance of dying from hornet, wasp, and bee stings. But, and that, people that may be allergic and things like that, but you have higher odds of dying from coming into contact with a hot surface. Planes, airline travel. A lot of people are deathly afraid of this, right? Your odds of dying in a plane crash are actually lower than your odds of being struck by lightning. Dying in a plane crash, your odds are 1 in 188,000, roughly. Being struck by lightning, 1 in 158,000, sorry. So again, for perspective, people are very afraid of flying sometimes, and planes can be scary. And there's an actual phobia around this. But your odds of dying in a plane crash are lower than your odds of being struck by lightning, which all of us, I think, believe is a very unlikely thing to have happen. Check it out. I've posted a link to this on our Facebook page. It's fun trivia, but it also, for me at least, it's a good reminder once in a while that the things that we are, afraid of, and the things that we're not, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Honestly. Consider the gun debate right now with yet another mass shooting in the news. Unbelievably, it's like back to back the last few weeks. Your odds of we take extreme steps. We take extreme steps to make sure to protect people from electrocution, radiation, high pressure machinery, things like that. Your odds of dying by electrocution compared to your odds of dying by a gun, it's like 1,200 to 1. You are far more likely, 1 in 285 people for a gun assault compared to 1 in about 17,000 people dying from electrocution. And the lesson I think that we can take away from that, an inferred correlation, is that, we have taken steps to remind people to be responsible when it comes to electricity, to not touch certain things, if you're working with electricity, to turn breakers off, things like that. They, believe it or not, there was a huge public education campaign about this at one time. When electricity was new, people were dropping like flies when it was first introduced into homes. So when someone says we can't make any progress when it comes to the number of gun assaults each year, which is, again, much higher odds than being electrocuted, I think we've got some evidence that there's a lot of daylight between our status quo of doing nothing right now and, an all-out gun ban. I think there are a lot of things to maybe try in there. And you look at these odds, well, there's quite some evidence. By the way, for those curious, you have about a 1 in 243,000 chance of dying while sitting minding your own business on a passenger train. Higher odds, again, of actually being struck by lightning. or higher odds again that you would be struck by lightning. Something we all consider and I think understand is extremely rare. So just some perspective again, and some interesting statistics. If you'd like to see Britt's full post, because he writes this up and he also breaks it down, and then he talks a little bit about thinking about this not so much as preventing these types of things, but reducing the odds that you can't prevent something that's not in your control, like being shot or run over by a guy on a motorcycle. What you can do is you can reduce the odds of those things happening. So again, two things here. Sometimes what we're afraid of is what we really should be least afraid of. And sometimes we take unnecessary risks and actually increase the odds that one of these admittedly unlikely things happens to us. And we do that every day. And you're very unlikely to die in a terrorist attack in the end. So good news, right? Check it out. I've posted a link to the full breakdown from Robert Britt, a statistician at the University of Connecticut, published once a year when the data is out. And that's on our Facebook page at facebook.com/KVNUFTP. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
The way you water your lawn makes a big difference. Water restrictions and water costs have both increased over the last few years. The Lawn Doctor offers a popular service to help keep your lawn green and healthy while watering less. One application of our HydroGuard service reduces your watering frequency by up to 1 day a week, saving you water and money.
Watering help, weed, fertilizer, and pest control. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN or go to lawndoctor.com.
Y'all heard of this? Whoa. Not sure where that came from. Tapping into my inner Duke boy there, I guess. Y'all heard of this national trend that has officially come to Utah of 4-day school weeks. If you're old, you might remember Governor Huntsman experimented with this back in his day with public employees at certain jobs and at certain state agencies going to 4-day work weeks. Some counties and cities tried it as well. I still think it was a good idea, and I still think that it needed a longer test run than it got, but most have done away with that at this point. Well, now it's being experimented with in Utah. It's been a national trend, growing national trend for a while now, since the pandemic, basically, when a lot of schools did this out of necessity, and some just kind of kept it around. But it was announced this week that starting with the next school year, Paiute County, 3 public schools in Paiute County and a private school, the American Leadership Academy in Spanish Fork, will be moving to a 4-day school week. The fall academic year starts in the fall. They join 19 other schools that have switched to shorter weeks in various ways. Some have just cut half days on Fridays or midweek. I think one school cut Wednesdays to half days for some reason. But these are the schools, so 23 total now in Utah, that have trimmed the school week by a full day. And nationwide, about 900 schools have done the same thing. It's a strange trend. I don't know if it's necessarily a bad trend, but it's definitely a strange trend that I don't fully understand where it's coming from. And obviously the potential negative ramifications are large, but not guaranteed. The potential positives, I think, are large. From what I've read, I think it would be a lot smarter of schools to cut each day by an hour and push school start times back than it would be to eliminate an entire day. But that's based on the data I've read. Maybe they're seeing something I don't. Some conspiracy theorists are latching onto this as well, saying that it coincides too well with recent conservative pushes in some states to weaken child labor restrictions. But there is a Utah history of this that relates to children working. Back when a lot more of this happened, it still happens today, but back when a lot more of this happened, teens especially, were needed, but sometimes of year, even young children were needed at certain key times on the family farm. And so schools would actually eliminate a full day or allow groups of students out for a full week in some cases without penalty in order to work the farm because people understood the family needed to make a living, and that's how they made a living. Utah currently has the second highest, number of teenagers in the labor force, something Governor Cox called a good thing. As far as it being tied to this shortening of the school week, I think it's fair to say that's a conspiracy theory at this point, though I acknowledge the timing is very coincidental. Students in Box Elder and the Tintic districts, for example, though, have to travel 40 miles a day in some areas, many on dirt roads, to reach schools that are 40 to 90 miles from the nearest town. And that's one of the reasons cited for some of this as well in southern Utah, shortening the school week, to which critics have, I think, rightfully said, well, maybe we should be building some more schools. But that's not a realistic solution in every area. Either way, this is going to get interesting, and it's obviously a trend that's growing here in Utah. If you want to see a full list of how districts are even using this as a way to be competitive in attracting and keeping teachers, I've posted a link to the Axios story with Utah-specific numbers on our Facebook page. And we'll be back with more of For the People after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:31. The news brought to you by U&I Furniture. Well, just about an hour away exactly from the Special Olympics torch run, Cache Valley is the kickoff point for the statewide run. It will be held from 6:30 to 7:30 this evening at Logan's Merlin Olsen Park. On KVNU's For the People program this past week, one of the founders of the Cache Valley leg of the torch run, Helene Salanoa, said although the deadline has come and passed to enter the run, the public is invited to come and participate by buying a T-shirt and being on the sidelines supporting the runners.
Now, for this run for Cache Valley, the deadline for that was last week.
Sure.
Actually, the 25th. But people can still come out. They can still come out and cheer people on, cheer all the runners on as they come in, as they finish the race at Merrill Olsen Park. And there's going to be food, and we're going to have a pizza party and some desserts and stuff, and so people can socialize after. And so it's a lot of fun.
Salanoa said for her it's especially fun to get to know the athletes and see them year after year. You can get more information on the race by going to the Facebook page, Cache County Special Olympics Torch Run. 2 drivers allegedly got into a crash as a result of road rage in Eagle Mountain, killing 2 people in a third vehicle. The road rage incident started between the driver of a Nissan Maxima and the driver of a Ford F-150 truck at the city center on Sunday afternoon. Police said it then continued for 5 miles onto State Route 73. The driver of the F-150 reportedly got into the emergency lane before slamming into the Nissan Maxima traveling in the eastbound lane. Once the driver of the Maxima slammed on their brakes, officials said the Ford driver lost control and went into the westbound lane, head-on into a Porsche. Deputies said they are still trying to pinpoint how the road rage incident originated. Utah County Sheriff spokesperson Spencer Cannon said that there were witnesses who saw what happened, and they were evaluating what they have to say and comparing the evidence found at the scene. The accident happened near mile marker 30 at around 1:30 p.m. Both directions of SR 73 were blocked off for nearly 6 hours. The driver of the F-150 was in the hospital with serious injuries. Once he is released, Cannon said he will be facing charges. And a man died after a crash between a car and motorcycle at an intersection in Murray. Officials responded to the crash at 4500 South and State Street at about 7:45 p.m. on Sunday. They said a man and woman were on the motorcycle at the time of the collision, and both were transported to a hospital. The man, whose identity has not yet been released, has since died. Officials said the woman was in stable condition. The driver of the vehicle was cooperating with police. The intersection was blocked to all directions of traffic while they investigated. And Bjorn Sunesson was pushing a blue three-wheel baby jogger while trotting along Highway 38 near Honeyville last Thursday on his way to an Ogden hotel. The 75-year-old man from Stockholm, Sweden, had a sign that read "Coast to Coast" on his three-wheeled stroller with all his gear enclosed. He said this is his 8th time running across America. He started in Oregon and will finish in New York. He doesn't attract much attention because he runs where it's legal to run. He cannot run on freeways, so he takes roads that are less popular. And he stays in hotels and eats at restaurants and fast food places along the way. When he cannot find a hotel, he has everything he needs in his stroller. The former journalist said a lot of people his age sit around and don't do anything, but for him, the journey across the U.S. has helped him meet some wonderful people. He has a blog with pictures of the families he has met over the years in some small towns along the way. Sunesson made his first transcontinental run in 2007, then 3 years later in 2010. He continued in 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018, and 2019. This is possibly his last time. His journey will take 102 days straight with an average of 32 miles a day. He should finish somewhere around Monday, September 11th, barring any setbacks or injuries. KBNU News Time is 5:36. KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, low around 50. And then partly cloudy to start the day Tuesday, becoming mostly cloudy, rain showers likely, and a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Some of the storms may produce strong gusty winds, high in the mid-80s. Chance of showers and storms Tuesday night, and a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon on Wednesday. It's been to 80. Right now it's 79 at KBNU. KBNU weather is brought to you by Roof Rescue. When you need roof repair or replacement, don't call just anybody. Call someone with the experience, knowledge, and skill to get the job done right. Call 435-999-4268.
Are you a hot sleeper? Warm summer nights can make it hard to sleep. UNI Furniture recommends sleeping cooler with a gel memory foam mattress. UNI features a copper-infused gel memory foam that helps with coolness and circulation. It moves better with you, giving you the best night's sleep. UNI is also the home of Chair Heaven. There's a reason they sell so many chairs, including recliners. Father's Day is coming up. Plan to take care of Dad with a new recliner. For over 90 years, there's always been a better buy at UNI Furniture, downtown Logan.
A Ukraine counteroffensive against Russian forces on Ukrainian soil expected to soon begin. White House National Security Coordinator John Kirby.
There has been continued vicious fighting in the Donbass area. Certainly Bakhmut did not see much of a reprise of the violence. The Ukrainians have been fighting bravely for Bakhmut. Even as they withdrew forces, they still stayed in the vicinity of Bakhmut.
The pilot of a small Cessna jet that crashed into a rural Virginia mountainside appeared to have passed out. That from F-16 fighter pilots who scrambled to intercept after it flew over Washington, D.C. The sonic boom of one of those fighters rocking homes and terrifying residents. At the White House, President Biden welcoming the Kansas City Chiefs to celebrate their championship season and victory in Super Bowl 57.
Congratulations to the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and good luck next season.
The Dow falling 199 points today. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. Critics say the bipartisan deal to lift the debt ceiling accomplishes very little. Hear the case they make about spending. Also, high home prices have given investors a new reason to try to collect long dormant second mortgages. We'll explain what's happening. And tips for hyper-managing your air conditioning bills this summer. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Did you know 22 Americans die each day waiting for organ transplants, most of them for kidneys? The good news is that MatchingDonors.com is helping to change that. MatchingDonors.com is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that links organ donors with people in desperate need of kidneys and other transplants. And now you don't need to donate a kidney to save a life. You can donate your boat, car, or real estate, with 100% of the proceeds going to help save the lives of people needing organ transplants. Visit MatchingDonors.com or call 800-385-0422.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, we meet the challenge. In cybersecurity, protecting and defending in cyberspace. When natural disasters happen, we are there in space. As a strong part of the nation's defense, we are there in the community and we are there for our nation. We share a vision to make a difference, united and focused, taking pride in being there in service of our country. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Mike Pence is announcing for the presidency. Guess what? So is Chris Christie. What in the world is going to happen with that duo? We will discuss what is Mike Pence's path, if at all, to the nomination. Plus, Buck.
We'll also dive in on this Tuesday episode of Clay and Buck to the latest on the Democrats with RFK and Biden. Is this going to continue to be a thing? Talk about it.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Kids, I saw a story today. If you're planning on using FrontRunner over the next few days, you maybe want to plan ahead or rethink it. And a lot of people think that as the school year winds down each summer, the libraries also do. But quite the opposite happens, at least at the Hiram City Library. Every summer, as the kids get out of school, the Hiram Library steps things up with a bunch of different programs, some for adults even, but most for children. Educational programs, fun programs, things to keep them busy and learning things, and even at times not knowing they're learning things, which is the best way to get a child to learn, really. It is time for the Hiram Library to kind of open things up for the summer. So joining us right now from the Hiram City Library, children's librarian Ariel Ballard. And Ariel, appreciate taking some time for KVNU today. There at the Hiram Library, you've really gone above and beyond to make sure this is a very unique summer for those interested, right?
Yeah, we do a lot. We actually start planning for our summer reading program back in January every single year.
Wow.
So it's like a year-long process to prepare for everyone and get all these programs together. A lot of teamwork for all of the librarians here at the Hiram Library to get everything prepared and ready to go. It's a lot of fun.
Now, some of the programs run year-round, like the Adult Book Club and other things like that. But a lot of these programs are specifically intended for summertime and children, right?
Yeah, so every year there's a theme. This year's theme is All Together Now, which is basically centered around what people around the community, friendship, things like that. For instance, last year was Oceans of Possibilities. So it was like kind of an ocean theme that all of our programs had surrounded that theme a little bit.
Oh, wow.
So it's more centered around this certain idea, and it's a lot of fun. So there's certain things that we do year-round, like story times we usually do year-round, and we'll do a couple of those throughout the summer. We always do have a lot of programs.
Sure.
But I know we do try to center them around the theme. So, for instance, this year I have like a Touch a Truck program that kids can come see trucks and vehicles from around the community, like ambulances, vehicles like that. Our teen librarian is going to do a community collection drive to put together kits for Little Lambs Foundation. So it's just we're trying to do it more of an outreach for the community and let kids know, like, look at all these people who are amazing and are part of your community and help you and all these things.
That is very cool. This is I caught this on the Hiram Library Facebook page, but you also do a story walk for the younger kids where you take them out across the street at the Hiram City Square, a very safe place for kids to walk, and literally they read a story and walk at the same time.
Yeah, so that's actually really fun as well. It's kind of a transition. During May, we're so busy planning, getting everything ready for summer reading, we suspend all of our regular story times. And so this is kind of a way to still give families a chance to read a book together, when we're not doing the regular story time. And we change the book every single week, put them out on like little yard sale signs, and it kind of switches places every week.
That's very
It's
cool.
a lot of fun. I look at the books that I think would be really good for it and kind of try to decide which ones I want out there. We've gotten some really good feedback, and yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
This is the Hiram Library also, contributing back to the community as they work to get word out to draw parents and kids in through the summer. They're also asking the community to help them, as a library, help the Little Lambs Foundation for kids. This is a great organization, nonprofit organization here in Utah, and they're asking, you guys are asking people to bring in some very needed products for these Little Lambs Foundation kits that they give to families. Diapers, pull-ups, general hygiene products, everything from mouthwash to toothpaste. And you're doing that, let's see, that started May 15th, runs until July 20th. Is that correct?
Yes. So that's part of our teen program. We're asking for collections of those items. You can find all the items listed like on our Facebook. It'll also be in our welcome packet that you'll get when you sign up for summer reading. But basically, we're going to collect all those things, and then the teens will have a program and put those kits together with all the items that we've collected throughout the summer. So it'll be a really good way for us to give back to the community, and just we always try to do that, recognize other people, and because we're all a community and we're all trying to help each other, and it's pretty great.
Very nice. And you mentioned signing up there. That's the next logical place for our conversation to go. If parents want to be a part of the summer reading program or any of the activities on the calendar there at the website, hiramcity.org/library, or find the Hiram Library on Facebook. I've linked to both on our own Facebook page if you want to find it there later. How do people sign up? What do they need to know?
So you do need to be a patron. So you have to have a card with us. Pretty easy to do if you're not already, as long as you're with Wellsville, Nibley, or Hiram. We service all of those areas. We just need a utility bill and a photo ID for you to sign up, fill out to get a card. Once you're a patron here, and if you already are, we do sign-ups online now. So you can either come in and scan a QR code, sign you and all of your kids up, and we break you down into different age groups. So there's the kids 0 to 12, and then teens 12 to 17. 12-year-olds kind of get to decide what group they want to be in this year. And then there's the adult program as well. And based off of that, you can also sign up online through our website starting June 1st. And then if you don't sign up before that, we have a kickoff party on the 5th, starting at 6:30 and over at Hiram City Square. We have bounce houses, treats, all that stuff. You can sign up there, get the welcome packet. Basically, the welcome packet includes all the information about the programs, details, the calendar, as well as a fun little activity packet, and you'll also get reading logs. So each child and teen will have a reading log, and they log minutes read, and you'll get all of that after you sign up. It's really easy to do, and even if you don't know how to do it, you can come in before the kickoff party or after. You can sign up any time during June, and we can help you do it if you're struggling to figure it out, but it's fairly easy to do. If you do sign up online at home, you just show us the confirmation page, and then we can get you your welcome packet.
Very nice. And there's a sneak peek of what's in the welcome packets and some of the prizes that will be raffled off for kids and adults in the summer reading program. And as Ariel just mentioned, sign-ups start online June 1st, hiramcity.org/library, or in person at the library. And then you can also attend and sign up at the summer reading kickoff party, 6:30 p.m., June 5th at the Hiram City Square. This is an event for the entire family, not just those signing up for the summer reading program, but you'll be able to do that there at the kickoff party. As Ariel just mentioned, bounce houses, games, and more. And this track you're reading through the summer, Ariel, I have to mention, as a kid, I was indifferent towards reading, but I got in the summer reading program through the. Now I'm old enough to have done this through the Hiram City Library when it was in the basement of the city building that no longer exists. That's to date myself there. But I remember going up, and the librarian helped me and my mom sign up for the summer reading program. And that literally was a turning point in my life. I've been in love with books and reading since. A lot more audiobooks now than others. In fact, I just downloaded one from the Hiram Library's Overdrive system, which I love. But still, the love of reading, this really makes a difference for kids, right? And even though it happens outside the school year, this can really improve their education experience during the school year, right?
Yeah, and that's what summer reading's all about. Especially the public library. It's one, encouraging kids to continue reading throughout the summer so that they don't lose those skills that they built up during the school year. Because if you don't read all summer, all of a sudden you're going to get back to school and it's going to be harder to read all of a sudden. So it's just a way to incentivize kids who might be reluctant readers to really try that, because we have like grand prize drawings for every log that you turn in, things like that. And it really gets kids to read. We had so many, I don't even remember how many logs turned in last year, but I know we had over 2,000 families participating, and it was great. And we're growing every single year, and it's so good to see all these kids just loving to read and keeping up with it. And even those who struggle, it's done by minutes, the logs are, so it's not by skill level. If you're putting in the effort for that amount of time, you get to mark off a box. So even if you're a lower reading level, you're still going to get the same amount of credit as someone who's reading 50 pages in 10 minutes. That would be an extreme example, of course, but even kids who struggle more are going to get basically the same credit as students who are already really good at reading.
You can learn more about these programs, as we've mentioned, here at the Hiram City website. And thanks to Ariel Ballard for joining us to discuss this today. Ariel, we'll speak again soon. Check in on how things are going with the summer programs. For listeners, if you want to learn more about the reading programs at the Hiram City Library, check out their website and Facebook page, hiramcity.org/library, or simply search for Hiram Library on their Facebook page. The classes are filling up quickly, and the season has already begun at this point, but still spots. So reach out to them if you're interested, and can really make a difference in your child's life. It did for me. I'm an example of that. Maybe not a good example, but an example. We'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
Adams Wealth Advisors is proud to announce that they've been named as one of the best financial advisory firms in the country by USA Today. Start maximizing your wealth potential with a team of experienced advisors who specialize in working with high net worth individuals. Let Adams Wealth Advisors help you achieve your financial goals with a personalized approach to investment management and planning. For more information on how Adams Wealth Advisors can help you achieve your financial goals, go to adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com.
My hearing started to go right around the same time my wife started naming off all the upgrades she wanted done on the house. I figured it was selective hearing. To be honest, I was actually pretty upset when it was suggested that I might need hearing aids, but ultimately I knew it was time for a change.
At Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology, we can help you regain the confidence that you're hearing life the way it was meant to be heard.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Visit CacheHearing.com for details.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Parents make all kinds of choices about their child's health. One important way you can protect your child's health is with vaccines. Viruses and bacteria are unpredictable, and even healthy children can develop severe complications.
I'm all done.
By vaccinating, you can feel good that you're doing everything you can to protect your child from harmful diseases. If you have questions about your child's vaccines, talk with your pediatrician and visit healthychildren.org.
There's a place to share the joy of your team winning it all, and a place to share a laugh about skiing and taking a fall. There's a place to share photos of pets, or singing in the choir, or the time you ate a pepper and your mouth was on fire. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone. Ask about your company's emotional health benefits. Visit heart.org/sharing. Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org. JustServe.org is provided as a service by The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I love Big Bird. I actually like you, too.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Thanks to everyone for tuning in today. It's been kind of a busy news week already, so that will probably hold up, I'm guessing, through the week. A few things to keep an eye on, though, which we'll be talking about here on the show. Utah lawmakers expected to meet in interim study to take on everything from school safety to committees that are going to look into Fox 13 News recently did a fundraiser to help high school kids pay off school lunch debt. That caught some attention of local leaders who basically said, in Utah, that shouldn't be happening. Kids caught in school lunch debt and unable to graduate because of it. So some lawmakers are going to be digging that up as well to see if something can be changed in the Utah budget without appropriating more money, but to make this no longer a thing as the pandemic levels of funding for free school lunch have backed off at this point. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow on the show. Our good friend Craig Peterson will join us for this month's installment of the For the People Book Club. That will be tomorrow at 5. So plenty of reasons to tune in. Hope you'll do so tomorrow, kicking off at 4 o'clock here on KVNU Logan. Dave Ramsey is next.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM, 610 AM, the voice of Northern Utah.